there were certainly independent senators, and for good or for ill, Senator Michael McDowell seems to have received quite a lot of heat for, we won't say blocking your nomination, but clearly it was in his power to nominate you to at least 19, and I suspect he could have gotten you for 20. And he wrote in the Irish Times, and he was honest about it. In fairness, he said, he didn't agree with what you stood for, that you were a divisive candidate that would sort of bring the country backwards. And also he was concerned somehow at the same time that you could actually win this election. So what were your feelings when he laid it out in the Irish Times as to why he didn't nominate you?
Well, look, as I said, I didn't expect anybody's vote or nomination. They're perfectly entitled to say yes or no to me. That's within their gift. I suppose the issue with Michael for me was just the lack of courtesy in, failing to answer any of my calls. And he answered a text at the beginning of September and said that he hadn't made up his mind. And I was calling him right up until the close of nominations on the 24th of September. And in the end, he didn't even communicate to me that he wasn't going to nominate me. He communicated it to my husband. So I think that was probably handled badly. But I do think when it comes to, the comments that he made in the Irish Times about him fearing that I would, drag the country backwards. There was another comment like that made by David McCullough on RTE's 6-1 News saying, do you want to bring Ireland back to the 1930s, when I talked about the family values that were in our constitution. And again, Micheál Martin's comment last year, you're a prophet of doom, you're against everything. And this is, I think, a narrative that people like you and me are just all too familiar with. And it's trying to paint people like us as being backwards. And with Michael, I think he basically said the quiet bit out loud.
Yes.
He said, I don't want to see her. This is not the kind of Ireland that I want to see.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're going to get an Ireland represented by Catherine Connolly, which I'm not sure is what you think of when you're thinking about the future.
But it's funny that would he prefer to see, a hard left candidate